People upset about Donald Trump's victory are taking to the streets Wednesday night, protesting his presidential win. You can see what looks like hundreds of people outside Trump Tower in Chicago. Meantime, in Washington, D.C., crowds are gathering again outside a Trump hotel. And a few protesters got somewhat violent with staff as they tried to push back a barricade. There you see that. Here's a look at Philadelphia, where protesters gathered at Thomas Paine Plaza earlier this evening and began marching down Broad Street. Here's the scene in New York City.
Not my president, not my president.
Hundreds gathered in Union Square chanting, "Not my president." More than 10,000 people responded to a Facebook event for the demonstration. They've also taken over Times Square. CBS News field producer Gilad Thaler is actually outside Trump Tower, where demonstrators have gathered as well. Gilad, tell us what the scene is like.
I am currently standing outside Trump Tower. I've been here for the past hour or so with a large group of protesters who have gathered together, chanting in solidarity against Donald Trump. They're quite upset about the results of last night's election. They've gathered together to chant, yell, vent their frustrations, and come together in solidarity. Many of their chants have been very policy-oriented, and they have been standing here up against a barricade, as you can see, where the police are preventing them from getting any closer to Trump Tower.
And Gilad, we see that image there, that line of police officers in front of the trucks, which have been positioned in front of the entrance there. Now we see them moving some barricades. It looks like another set of barricades, in addition to one that's there right now. What have you witnessed? Has there been any kind of physical confrontation?
The protesters here there's a barricade preventing them from getting too close to Trump Tower. At a certain point, the protesters pushed the barricade back a little bit closer. The police allowed them to have a little bit more room. There's a huge amount of protesters here, as you can see, completely filling up the avenue. They really did need that extra space here. So while they were able to gain a few inches, the police have now started to pull in another line of barricades to create a second line, either protecting them or passing them down further down the avenue as more protesters stream in. But right now, there's currently two lines of barricades in between both the protesters and the police. Now, this protest has been quite peaceful throughout the night. Most of it has been directed against Donald Trump. There have been a few chants against the police, saying that they're condoning a rapist to be the possible next president. But again, most of the protests have been targeted against the president-elect Donald Trump, as opposed to the police officers. So this barricade, it's unclear why they're setting up this second line, whether it's for protection to the police officers or just creating an extra buffer zone.
All right. And Gilad, do you know what the protesters intend to do? Do they intend to stay there throughout the night?
I spoke to one protester earlier asking, what needs to be done for you to go home? And she said, honestly, she'll never go home. Now, obviously, she didn't mean that literally tonight, but this sentiment is going to stick around for a long time. I'm standing next to one protester who I'd love to speak to very briefly. She won't tell me her full name because she is undocumented. She said she wants to go by the name Mo. Mo, do you mind if I ask you a few questions there? This is for CBSN. So they're not going to hear my questions too much, so if you can just answer in full sentences. Can you describe why are you out here tonight?
And I am sad that we have a white supremacist, racist, homophobe, Islamophobe, rapist in office for president. This is not the country that I want for my children. This is not the country that I want my child.
Your daughter, how old is your daughter?
My daughter's here. My daughter is 1 year old, and my daughter is helping me maintain the energy right now, and is helping me stay protected too.
The police are now starting to push us back a little bit, as you can see. You have to interrupt this interview briefly to push back. We're going to continue now, though. can you tell me, the stakes are very high for you personally. Why are you personally feel threatened because of your legal status?
I feel my whole family feels threatened for our legal status in this country. I have family in Texas, and I have my husband and my girls, and we don't want to get deported. We have made a life here. If we go back to our homeland, it has to be because we choose to, not because we get deported. We work, we pay taxes, we help this economy every single day.
Now, you do have deferred action, which President Obama allowed for undocumented immigrants to be able to temporarily work in the United States. So you are here under those protections. What do you worry about that, when Donald Trump begins his role as president?
I worry that Donald Trump is going to take away DACA from all of us who were able to apply for it, and that DACA is not going to be able to move forward for all of those who weren't eligible for DACA. And I worry that I'm not going to be able to work and have the same opportunities as everybody else because I'm not going to have the DACA.
What will it take for you to go home? I mean, the election's over. There's not much that can be done at this point. I mean, what are you asking for? What will it take for you to accept the election?
There is so much to be done. This is not over. We can impeach this rapist. We can impeach this homophobe, this violent white supremacist. We can impeach him. There's so much work to do in our communities, at the community level, at the local level. We have to change our lifestyles. We have to decolonize this country because it's not white people's country. It's our country. It's our land. We have worked this land for hundreds, thousands of years. This is our home. We're going to stay here.
During her concession today, she said that it's time for the country to come together and to work with Donald Trump. Did you hear her concession speech, and what was your reaction to that?
I don't care about Hillary. You know why? Because she's a white feminist. Indigenous women, we don't believe in feminism. We were matriarchal societies from the beginning, and we don't endorse white feminism. So I don't think that she's any better than this white supremacist Donald Trump. I don't believe her. They're all the same. This is all a show. This is a circus to keep us oppressed, to keep us down, to keep us asleep, and to keep these cops right here working for them, not for us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Gilad Thaler there. That is the scene outside New York City, outside Trump Tower in New York City, where, as you just heard, there's a great deal of anger among some of the demonstrators there who have turned out not just against Donald Trump, but you heard her. She is not a Hillary Clinton supporter either. We're going to continue to monitor that situation. Gilad, thank you so much.
Thank you.